It is another beautiful day in West Central Wisconsin, and that it is truly beautiful or lovely, I guess you could say, that this day is in West Central Wisconsin, in all of Wisconsin. Welcome to episode 117 of Banging on the Drum, our first go at the Sunday night right after the game. Talk about this game while it's fresh in our head edition. As always, I am your host, P Dog, joined along with our other host, M Dog. And
Oh yeah.
how you feeling about this Packers team after today, M
So
Dog?
I feel really, really good. Really, really good about it. Which makes me feel a little skeptical about it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and it's definitely a dog shit Bears team, but I still think, I mean,
Yeah.
it's an NFL team. I think you mentioned last episode they were the worst team in the league. So just the Packers, if the Packers rolled out love against them last year, I would have thought we were going to win that game. But
Yeah. Yeah.
but it was just different. It was a different feeling. It was like maybe shit, not Fields took the step forward that we really don't want him to take. He does seem like he's going to be a nightmare if he can figure out how to throw the ball. But uh,
Or their
other,
offensive line can figure out how to protect him in a real way to give him some time.
yeah, the Packers were all over his ass today. They ended up with 4 sacks, but if it was two-hand touch, I think they would have had 17 sacks, something like
Oh
that.
yeah.
He
Yeah.
he was he was getting away from every first hit early in the game. Then it looked like when Vanessa put him on his ass, I want to say in the second quarter, it seemed like guys were like, well, the rookie can do it. So like maybe we
Yeah.
should start actually trying to fucking tackle him. But
And I think to some extent, like he kind of understood, like, oh, I'm going to get caught here, too. I'm not getting away from these guys. I'm not running all over the place, um, which he has done on other teams. I mean, he I want to say he had over 1,000 yards rushing last year, and
I
he's
don't know, but I that sounds yeah. I wouldn't doubt that at all, and I'm
and
pretty
more
sure
than
you're right.
likely he'll have 1,000 yards rushing this year too. So he had 60 against us or something like that. I don't remember the exact number. I had it up here for a second, but
9 carries for 59 yards. So yeah, you nailed it. Long of
he,
10 though. So that now I didn't think of that until you said that, but that's pretty good too. It's like when he did get loose on us, he got 10 yards. And I want to say the time he got 10
yep,
yards, it was third and 20 or some shit like that.
yeah, but he lost. I think like let's see here, almost 30 yards, 25 yards on um, sacks.
Yeah, 4 sacks,
Right,
27 yards.
which you could put pretty easily in his rushing stats. I think.
Do they do that? I always forget that because I know college and NFL is different. Like one of them is counts against rushing yards and one of them counts against passing yards.
So here on ESPN, they have he's 24 for 37 for 216 yards passing, right? And then the team is 24 for 37 for 189 yards passing,
Okay,
and they
so they
lost
yeah they
27 yards
so
in
yeah
sack.
okay yeah so yeah I like that point. So you're saying like we basically held him to 30 if you count the sacks
Yeah,
against
32
his.
yards instead of that 60. If you count the sacks as like rushing, which I wouldn't do for every quarterback, but I do feel like you should do for Fields. Does that make sense? Like Lamar
Yeah,
Jackson, I would count it for that too. Maybe like a Daniel Jones. Um, there's got to be another one out there. Jalen Hurts, maybe too.
because yeah I'm trying to think of two. Um now I forgot my train of thought, but where the fuck was I was going with that? So sorry about this, people. I'm having a brain fart. Uh
Brain fart in progress.
oh yeah. So like how much average yardage? Like how so if Aaron Rodgers got sacked or Jordan Love got sacked 4 times, like what do you think the average yardage lost in that? Like 5 yards a sack?
I don't know. Sacks seem to be actually like Aaron Rodgers, I think, is very good about moving up in the pocket, and therefore the sacks don't affect him in quite the same way, right? Yardage wise. Um, I think for the most part, that most quarterbacks they feel that pressure, they move back. It's probably like 8 or 9 per, where like Fields is at like 7, and that I think partly because he takes off from a guy like Van Ness right after that first sack, and he's going towards the line of scrimmage, and Van Ness just catches it,
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it was
and so
probably like
he
a
loses
3 yard
less.
loss on that, or 2 yard or whatever.
Right, it probably wasn't a ton, and I don't remember for sure, but some of them you drop back, and then you drop back a little more, and then you get stuck someplace. And so I think
All
it's
right.
probably 8 or 9 every time.
All right, we are gonna do a. I like that, but yeah, I couldn't tell you how much averages, but it doesn't seem like he lost anymore because he was running like really far backwards and then tried to
No,
escape too much and then did it. But I think how we're gonna flow with the Packers this year. So we're gonna do our SWOT analysis. We still gotta come up with a sponsor and a clever name for it, but we're doing a SWOT analysis today. But before we do that, I just want to go. I know Mike, I don't think Mike likes when I do this, but I like to jog everybody's brains of like the scoring drives at the very least. Can I
yeah,
do
let's
that?
let's let's touch on them. Yep.
All right. So right off the bat, Romeo Dobbs, 8 yard pass from Jordan Love. So that was 11 yard or 11 play, 40 yard drive from a turnover on downs. And
Broken, a
then
little bit of a broken play. He comes across the middle, makes it like good read as Dobbs comes across the middle, gets Dobbs pretty wide open.
Yep. Yeah, great throw, like great improvising. Love. He couldn't have had a better first game in his first year of starting. I don't think.
I don't think so either. Like, well, maybe. I mean, it's possible to have a better game,
Yeah,
but
I guess he
it
could
was
have
good.
went
It was good.
50 for 50 for five. But yeah,
Right.
it's like I want to say his QBR was like 123 or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Like
Very high.
pretty high. And then Santos for the Bears kicks a field goal, makes the score 7-3. Next score was in the second quarter. Again, Santos hits another field goal. We don't score again till the end of the half, where Anders Carlson kicks a 52-yard field goal. Just fucking nailed it. Kind of put some of my worries from the preseason and missing all those extra points to rest. Uh,
And I know
and
this is
oh,
I know this isn't the way it works, but he probably could have hit that from 65,
yeah,
maybe 70. Like he crushed that ball.
he's got leg, and I mean, there's two aspects that make me fairly confident in him. Don't get me wrong, that kick definitely helped in my dumb brain. Like I needed to see one go through the
Yep.
pipes, but knowing that we have Mason Crosby out there that we could probably bring back at any time, and as shitty as Carlson performed in the preseason, we never even batted an eye. They just stuck with them. So I think that's a good bout of confidence there. And then hitting the field goals today. So or the field goal and all of his extra points that he needed to hit today. So that was nice. Uh but yeah, I guess we would be not doing it right if we didn't talk about how the first drive where we scored the touchdown, Aaron Jones got the ball 4 times, 25 yards, 27, 5 times, 27 yards, and scored a touchdown, and then did not get the ball again for the rest of the half.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy actually. That and Lafleur says it every time. We got to give Aaron Jones the ball more. We got to give Aaron Jones the ball more. And then he said it at halftime, and he still didn't give him the ball that fucking much. Right. So
Yeah,
he ended with 11 touches on the whole game, less than AJ Dillon.
yeah,
Uh, Patrick Taylor had half that many in the fucking final 4 minutes of the game or whatever it was.
yeah. I don't think it helps that on his super long receiving touchdown, it looked like he pulled his hamstring, which is kind of scary. But hopefully that isn't the case. He gave us a little peace signs uh, when he was getting stretched out on the sideline. But we'll get back to it here. So, like I said, we stopped giving Aaron Jones the ball for some reason. Everybody on Twitter complained about this, and then I don't know what drive of the second half it was. It was the first or second drive, but we have an 8-play, 75-yard drive capped off with an Aaron Jones touchdown. I don't have all the plays for that one, but then again, our next touchdown comes on Aaron Jones' 35-yard reception from Jordan Love on a 4-play, 42-yard drive. So at this point, we're up 24-6. And this
You want to
one,
jump into what happened there that you and Riley were bitching about?
oh yeah. So Mike and I ran into some turmoil today in our little text chain. So I am from the Madden school of thought when it comes to timeouts. So
Same.
it wasn't just this. It was a second time at the end of the half when we hit that field goal. It looked like someone, I mean, obviously they looked at the clock and figured it out, but it didn't look like they were like, hey, we're just gonna run the clock down and take a timeout, and then we're gonna run our kicker out. It looked like, hey, we lost track of time. We got to call
Yeah, it
timeout.
did
We're
look
gonna,
like that. Yep.
yeah.
They
And
could have ran
then
one more play pretty easily inside
mhm,
there. Like, I think they were lined up with like 20 seconds to go,
yeah.
and then let it
And
roll down to 4 seconds before we kick the field.
and I don't know exactly who that falls on, if that's a Matt LaFleur problem or anything like that. But then we get to fourth down. It looks like a good opportunity to go for it. I want to say though, so what was it? It was a 42-yard catch. So what would that 57-yard field goal? I guess it's too long for not too long for
No,
a
they were
field
at the
goal, but
35-yard line. They were at the
so
35-yard line, right?
well, it
So it was
ended
a
up
52
being
yarder.
oh yeah, 35. Yeah, never mind.
And so basically, they call a timeout. They called a timeout super early in this game, maybe the first or second drive as well. They got lost on time. Clock was running down. They called a timeout just to
Yeah,
get things settled. That was the first possession of the game. And then early in the second half, as Pat's alluding to, we decided we got to call a timeout. But I look at this as more like a basketball timeout than a football timeout, right? So football timeouts are usually like, oh shit, we're fucked here. We got to do something different. Or basketball timeouts, they call timeouts and they're like, all right, we're going to line this up. We're going to make a play. Let's just say, like, for Steph Curry. We're going to make a play for Steph Curry. We're going to draw up this play so that he gets the ball and has an open shot. Feels like that's what they did in this play and ended up scoring the touchdown with it.
yeah. So ultimately, you're right. Like this wasn't a awful timeout, and we blew this out of proportion. I guarantee you,
Yeah,
like,
both of us did, right?
yeah, like,
Because that's not what happened. Is they drew it up and they're like guaranteed touchdown. That like nothing's a guaranteed touchdown.
but anyways, it to me it seemed like they just didn't get a play in time, but it was a big spot to put the game out of hand. So I think you should have your fourth down play in ready to go, but whatever. It's fourth down. It's a big play. You use a timeout there. You score a touchdown. I need to shut up. Like, good job. That's it. But I don't love it. Like when you need your timeouts at the end of the game. Like Mike McCarthy, I feel like did this to us a ton. Is like just like not having 3 timeouts at the end of the game when we need to get a stop and get the ball back. And that's
Yeah,
that's
where this
where I
game it
think
doesn't really matter.
I
You.
think that's where your timeouts need to be, what your timeouts need to be saved for in the future in these games, especially your second half timeouts. Your first half timeouts, whatever. You have like a brain fart or and I mean it probably shouldn't be any different, but to me it is. I don't know. Anyways, too much time on that timeout. So we go up 24-6. This one feels like it's basically over. The Bears end up getting a touchdown with 1 minute left in the third quarter. 20-yard pass from Fields to Mooney. Pretty nice little touchdown pass from them. They end up getting the 2-point conversion, make this a 10-point game. So I guess we did have a little bit of a game going into the fourth quarter, but then the Packers, the next drive, go 5 plays, 61 yards, cap it off with a Romeo Dobbs 4-yard touchdown catch from Jordan Love. And then I want to say, yeah, it was like a minute later, Quay Walker picks it off, runs it back 37 yards for a touchdown. That point, we're up 38-14. This game's over, and the Vikings end up getting like a garbage time touchdown with 3 minutes
Bears.
left in the game. Or yeah, the Bears. What did I say?
Vikings.
Oh,
But we can look at the positives on the Vikings game too, and just that they lost today.
yeah. No, it was a
Shit
it,
the bed.
it was a nice day to be an NFC North fan, but I'm going to let Mike get into his SWOT analysis of this game. So if you're not familiar with that, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And Mike is going to get after it here.
Yeah, and so this was just kind of like some quick stuff that I thought we did really well. So I'll start in with the strengths. Aaron Jones, 11 touches, 127 all-purpose yards. The guy is a stud. We need to give him the ball probably. So Dylan had 13 touches. I would say you take at least half of Dylan's touches and give them to Jones.
I agree.
Let Dylan be rested, the guy who's rested. And honestly, I think that 24 touches for both of them is not enough. You could push that north of 30 between the two of them, and I'd be perfectly fine with it. 20 to Dylan, or 20 to Jones, and like another 10 to Dylan, and I'd be like, all right, we're doing what we need to do here. I don't hate Dylan. I just don't think Dylan's nearly as effective as Jones.
Yeah, and you hit the nail right on the head with him. Is like, I think people give him a little bit too much credit for his size.
For being a
that
bruiser, he's not.
Yeah, and he gets taken down fairly easily. I mean, I couldn't fucking tackle him, but other guys in the NFL seem to not have that much trouble tackling him. Because even the announcers are like, yeah, he's hard to bring down. And then they just like tackle him. Like it doesn't look like a chore. Like it doesn't. I remember Najee Davenport. That looked like a fucking nightmare. Like he wouldn't go anywhere, but it looked like it fucking hurt when you tackled him. And I don't get that from Dylan as much.
Same with Amon Green, right? Like Amon Green, like made people just like it appeared to be miserable to tackle that guy. And every time he tried to tackle him, he took another 2 yards.
Oh shit! Before I forget, because I don't think we wrote this in the notes. My favorite run of the whole game was Love lowering his shoulder to try to get that first down. I think that was right before he threw the touchdown too. So I mean, maybe that was another reason why they called that timeout because Love was scrambling and like he needed to get back. But yeah, the way he lowered the boom on that one, like that was harder than anybody ran the ball all day. Like I don't think whoever was trying to tackle him expected him to like actually hit him, and he did.
And like quarterbacks are not small dudes, right? So we think of them as the frail ones on the field, but they're definitely not small dudes. And so if they decide that they're gonna like put their shoulder down and like try, that could be a heavy load to carry for a defender.
Oh yeah, and Love definitely isn't small. He makes Aaron Jones look small. Like you see Aaron Jones next to him in the huddle, you're kind of like Aaron Jones doesn't look that big. I mean, he really isn't. Jones, like he isn't that big.
He's short, right?
Yeah.
He's short comparatively, so he's probably taller than me, and he's probably taller than you, but he's not 6'3". He's not. I mean, I would imagine that.
He's 5'9", so he's
okay. So he's like my height.
Yeah, he's basically our height. Yeah. He's basically our size, 5'9", 208 pounds. I mean,
I'd have to put on like a legit 18 pounds of like pure muscle to be it.
And yeah, and I
pure muscle, like that would make me look fucking huge.
15 pounds of, and then like turn some of my body fat into more muscle. So so it'd be tough, but he's not too much bigger than us. Like he wouldn't look crazy next to us.
Okay, if you say so. I feel like
I mean, he looked jacked. Don't get me wrong, but I've stood get next to guys who are jacked, and like it
Right.
doesn't. But like if you stand next to Jordan Love, you're like
Yeah, you
looking
look,
up a
you're
little.
dwarfed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Guy who's 6'5" is a different thing, right? Anyway, getting back into my strengths, Romeo Dobbs is making catches. They're contested catches. That 4 yard touchdown catch that he makes uh, over top of a dude, kind of. I don't want to say he mossed him because I don't think that's quite what it was, right? Not the same type of thing, but guy's got good coverage on him. He goes up, takes the ball out of the air, and scores a touchdown there. Worked his way open on his first touchdown to get that one, and kind of a longer route run on on the first touchdown. Um,
Yeah, he looked really, really good today. And it looked like him and Love have,
have a connection.
yeah, like some chemistry there. So, yeah, getting Watson back with that already going on, that was great.
We took a few, so maybe I'll get into that in kind of like a opportunity here. But anyway, so the pass rush, 4 sacks today on one of the most elusive QBs in the game. I think that like him, I I think you could put like an Aaron Rodgers up there or Josh Allen up there as well. But like Justin Fields is hard to get your hands on and to tackle behind the line of scrimmage. And the Packers did it 4 times today. Lucas Van Ness looks fucking fast. And I mean, so on the one he got, he might have been just assigned like a type of spiral that they were going to crash on the other side and hold contained. And but I think it was the left end on that time, would just go to Fields no matter what happens. And so he doesn't bite on any fakes. He doesn't like crash down into the middle. Like his whole goal is to stay outside of Fields. I don't know, but Fields kind of broke his shoulder, like broke the plane of his shoulder, and Lucas Van Ness just ran him down, which was
Yeah.
impressive to me.
I want to say shit. Not Greg Olson did like a pretty good job of analysis on that play. How he was saying that Van Ness did a good job of like staying flat on that play, where a lot of guys would have like ran straight to
Yeah.
him. But I
Yep.
mean, it was exactly what you said. It's like he had containment, but like once he realized that shoulder went down, he was like, well, he's going to try to beat me to the edge now, and I got to beat him to the edge. And he fucking just smoked him to the edge. Like,
Yep.
it was
Uh,
so fast.
and so 2 rookies got sacks today. So Carl Brooks got a sack as well today. Rashawn Gary looked in his limited playing time, which may be better for him to be dominant. Every time he seemed to be in, it seemed like he was making some type of move to collapse the line of scrimmage every time he was in there. Our kick and punt return seems to be very, very good. Our special teams is good. We mentioned Anders Carlson earlier in the episode, making kicks, doing the things that he needs to do, but sounded like we had a couple of shaky holds, and Whelan handled that, or shaky snaps. Whelan handled them, and Carlson like didn't miss a beat on him. And that's really all you can hope from your kicking team. A snap that's perfect would be ideal, but if we don't have a perfect snap, our holder and our kicker dealing with that in the moment and getting it done, and then our kick and punt return teams are very, very good. I think Nixon, it's just kind of a matter of time before he takes one to the house. It always looks like he's maybe like one block short of getting there.
Yeah, no, 100%. Keyshawn Nixon, and I was telling you before we got on the show, anytime he has an opportunity to catch a kick, I want to see him come out of the end zone. Uh,
Yep.
and I mean, he does a pretty good job of like if it's over his head, he like lets it go and stuff. Uh, but yeah, and he does that, so it's not like there's an issue with that. But yeah, he's very fun to watch because yeah, his 28-yard return, I want to say he makes one guy miss, like that goes to a 56-yard return easily, if not a house call.
Yeah, I think it feels like he's one block away a lot, right? That, oh man, this is opening up. We're going to get there. And then one dude comes in, makes the play. And so that's kind of special teams in a nutshell anyway, but it doesn't feel like we've had that in a long time. Now, on the punt return side of things, Jaden Reed feels like that dude as well. That he's elusive, he can find space. And today he had a long one, 56 yards maybe,
It
46
was
yards.
it was only 35, but he had three
Okay.
for 54 yards
Okay.
total. But yeah, it seems
Uh,
like both of them did everything right. Like neither of them had a brain fart back there and put us in a worse spot than we would have been.
yep. And some of that's due to coaching, right? So like, oh shit, now I can't remember. Bisaccia, like,
Yeah.
is just he's a really, really good coach. Um, he's a guy that I'm so happy to have on the Packers team, and the Raiders are fucking morons for letting him go.
Yeah, no, I agree with that 100%. And I think you saying a lot of it or a lot of it has to do with coaching or yeah, I mean you said
Some
it.
of
A
it,
lot of
some
it
of it does, right? I mean, that's
you oh
very
yeah,
reasonable.
that's what you said as some of it. I think it's got to be a lot of it because our special teams went from last to this good. Like it went from a glaring weakness to a great strength of ours with one coach, 1 year.
Yeah, so he was. Is it 1 year? Yeah, so he was there all of last year, and then like this year looks very promising on our special teams.
Yeah.
And then I think our last one is third down conversions and stops. So not that we were perfect. Maybe this is more of an like an opportunity, right? Is that this is something that wasn't perfect, but we had a lot of like good things happen on third down. We made stops on third down. We didn't allow the Bears to score touchdowns on their two drives that they kind of looked like they were rolling early in the game. Kind of sets it up as like we get stops when we come down to the red zone, um, and then we pulled off a few third down conversions that were pretty big. Jordan Love looked very cool in those.
Yeah, he looks comfortable. Yeah, we were 9 of 16 on third down. The Bears were 3 of 13. So we crushed them on third down, which last year we were saying last episode is like the Brewers with runners in scoring position, like it's highlighted for us. But this game we absolutely smoked them, and it was a big reason why we ended up winning this game.
All right, so for weaknesses, I have that.
Can I do one
We,
more strength
yep, go
that I
for it.
didn't tell you? But yeah, we would be remiss if we didn't talk the offensive line. So Jordan Love gets sacked one time for 8 yards. So pass protection at least. Like I said, I was going to try to pay attention a little bit more to the offensive line. Uh, Definitely pass protection was great. Looked like Jones was averaging a little bit over 4 yards a carry. So I think that that's a sign of a good line. But then we had Dylan averaging like 1 yard a carry, basically. Yeah, not even two. Over one, under 2 yards a carry. But offensive line looked like they're for real, for real.
Yep. All right, so for weaknesses, as we've always done, and probably this is like a learned thing from Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love, is if we feel like we're not going to get a playoff, we call a timeout. Doesn't matter if it's the first drive of the game or if it is like something that is super necessary in the last part of the game, right? We're willing to use them. We're willing to use them at any time. And I just feel like we need to do a little bit better on the clock management, both by Jordan Love and by the coaching staff, whether that's Matt LaFleur or somebody that he assigns to that, right? Um, and then another weakness that I saw, and this is out of Jordan Love specifically, he got flushed out of the pocket, and this might have been once or twice that I saw this, maybe only once. He got flushed out of the pocket, and instead of looking to throw, which Aaron Rodgers consistently did for and maybe not early in his career, right? Like I could be conflating the last 10 years with the last 15, right? Whatever it is. But he just looked to run before he was looking to throw. He was rolling out, and it was obvious that he wanted to take off and run it. I think that's young quarterback stuff, though, and can be learned from. In like in time, you can just chuck it out of bounds and move on instead of try to get that 2 yards. You don't need that 2 yards, not really.
Yeah, and it's 100% that, and he definitely did that, but not quite as bad as some of the other young guys you see do that. He definitely
Right.
did a better
True.
job of like keeping his eyes downfield than like a young Lamar Jackson. Not that Lamar Jackson isn't young anymore. He's probably still younger than Jordan Love, but yeah,
No, no. I
those
think
guys.
Jordan Love's fairly young for a QB as well.
Yeah, I don't know who's older. I maybe Lamar
She's
Jackson.
probably Sean Clifford's probably older than both of them combined. So
Yeah, John Clifford's definitely older than Jordan Love, but yeah,
yeah,
I think that's something that'll come with time. And honestly, it
right.
didn't even look that off that he was doing it,
No, I
but yeah, it
noticed it
was.
once pretty glaringly bad. Like I was like, oh, I don't like that. Right. And
Yeah,
so not that it was a huge weakness, and weaknesses are pretty hard to find um, in this game. I didn't see a ton of them. I wasn't like, these fucking morons can't do anything right. There are some opportunities. Jordan Love, I think, has room to grow. Like his his accuracy is not Rodgers. Maybe nobody's ever will be, right? Like that they can put it in a keyhole at 50 yards. Rodgers could always do that. Jordan Love does not feel like that. And from the things that I saw, it was definitely not there. He he's good. He's competent. He had a really good like a really good passer rating, and he completed all the passes that he needed to. However, he can be more accurate in getting that. I'm going to go back and I'm going to just take a quick peek at the stats for passing. 15 for 27. If we can get that to like 20 of 27 or 22 of 27, I think that's kind of where we want to be. Now, there's going to be some that you just throw away. I'd prefer you to throw it away rather than take a sack or like try to run and get hit. Like, I get that. There's going to be some incompletions. I would imagine that you could, in theory, have a perfect game even with a throwaway, right? Or an
oh yeah,
incompletion. My personal opinion is that I'd rather have that than take a sack or whatever. And so, and I don't know how your QBR goes into that,
yeah.
but I'm sure that
QBR is.
they do not account for that shit at all. Like that, if you throw it away, it's just an incompletion. I'm sure it doesn't have like, oh, he was going to get sacked and there was nobody open, and he either throws an interception or he gets a sack, so he threw it away.
You definitely can have a perfect QBR with some interceptions. So I wonder if they do weigh something as like sacks saved or something
Oh,
like
okay,
that. I don't
okay,
know exactly, but
okay,
but yeah, I know Favre, that game against the Raiders on Monday night after his dad died, had a perfect QBR, and he definitely had a couple incompletions in that game at the very
right,
least. So
yeah, and then, uh, and so then, so that's just a piece like you can improve on your decision making and how you're completing passes, right? And then the last one, I think, we can return Watson to this offense, right? So we are not even operating with our first string or our top wide receiver. Maybe Dobbs is our top, but I think that we all consider Watson to be the most athletic and the guy who we touted the highest.
for sure. Yeah. I mean, Dobbs looks like he's going to try to give him a run for his money for the number one guy this year. I mean, at least after this game. But but yeah, Watson is definitely a dynamic, super dynamic weapon that we did not have on the field today. So it would be interesting to see how the Packers would be able to attack with that. And we did take a couple deep shots, and that's probably our guy that's going to be. We're trying
Yeah,
to hit on some of these deep shots. There was definitely a pretty wide open deep ball that I think Jordan Love kind of missed a little bit. If I'm remembering correctly, it seemed like there was a guy running, yeah, running down the field with no one around him, and it was missed. But yeah, like you said, I mean, I know you're off the weaknesses. It's hard to point out anything bad in this, and then with that opportunity of Watson coming back, this team's got me excited already, and
Oh yeah, for sure.
probably shouldn't be as exciting seeing that we were just playing the shitty old Bears, but uh, I am excited nonetheless.
I I'm definitely excited as well. And then so I'm gonna jump over to like what I think are threats to this team. Um, and I think the biggest threat that I saw in today's game was not the Bears or like any other team, but Matt LaFleur and the offensive coordinators, right? Whoever's making up the offensive game plans, which I know LaFleur calls the plays, but whoever's like subbing in Dylan over Jones, they like Dylan more than they like Aaron Jones for some whatever that reason is, like more personable, whatever it is. That's our biggest threat is that they're not going to use Jones enough. Our own coaching staff is sabotaging us to some extent by using Dylan more than they should.
Yeah. No, and I mean there's something to that. And I think that's going to be one of those answers like where it's not black or white, like it's
Yeah.
gray. Like maybe they're trying not to overuse Jones
Right.
and
Yeah.
keep him fresh.
Yep.
And they're like, hey, Dylan, as much as we've kind of talked shit about him today, and I think we're kind of a crew that's on Dylan's ass a little bit, if not
Yep.
all of Packers Nation's a little bit on his ass. Like he seems like an amazing dude. I don't know why I feel like I have to say that, but he needs to start running like he did not last year, but the year before.
Well, so
If
like
it,
the second half of both of those years is when he ran really effectively. And so hopefully he makes me eat my words at the back half of this year again, right? Or like next week, like just runs wild on some. I don't even know who we got next week right off the top of my head. Atlanta.
yeah, Atlanta, and it's a noon game. I only
Yeah.
know that because I'm probably gonna miss it because I have drill. So you're gonna be our full on expert for that one. I mean, I'll still be able to record, but I'm gonna
Yeah.
have to catch up.
Uh, but anyway, like I hope he proves me wrong. I like Dylan. I think that he does a lot for the community that he's in. I think that he would do a lot for whatever community he's in too. Like he would, if he ended up in New England, like the Boston area would have an awesome guy there. If he ended up in San Francisco, same deal. A good human to be to be where he's at, and I hope that he kind of proves us wrong at
Yeah,
the end of this year or later in this year. I would
and
like
it
a lot for us to be able to move on from Aaron Jones. I mean, not move on from Aaron Jones because I think he's a good human as well. But like, I want the secession to take place, right? That like we move on to the next dude that we just drafted, right? And he becomes better. I just don't see it yet.
yeah, and it doesn't seem like it's like a lack of effort or like Dylan doesn't seem
Right.
like
Yep.
the problematic type or anything like that. It just seems like there's something missing with his game. Whether it be like he's not good at, and I'm talking out of my ass on this, like I don't, I'm not watching the all 22 saying this, but it seems like he's doing something wrong. Like he's not hitting the right hole or not making the right cut. Like it seems like he needs to do something different because I think we highlighted last week that the Bears were the 31st rush defense in the league, something like that. Uh,
Yeah.
they're pretty piss poor. And like I said, he averaged less than 2 yards a carry in this game. And also,
Had
like
more
we,
carries than Aaron Jones.
yeah. And yeah, like we said, it looked like he went down way too easily to be the guy that
Just
we want him to be.
yeah.
The yeah, the thunder to Aaron Jones's lightning. Is
Right.
that
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I think that's kind of a fair assessment of what he is billed as, right? And I don't know that that's actually what he is.
yeah.
Doesn't appear to be that guy. I mean, he's really good. Like as a second back, you can't complain too much about what AJ Dillon is, right? Like to have a
No.
backup be that, I'm pretty happy with. I just don't see him taking over the Aaron Jones role in this offense anytime soon. Right? If Aaron Jones would get hurt in the next couple weeks, we'd be in a hard place when it came
Yeah,
to it.
it would definitely be a problem.
Definitely.
Uh, all right, you got anything more on the game?
No, that kind of wraps up like the things I was saying. And this game was a lot closer in the first half than what the end of the game looked like. The Bears played this game fairly tough through the first half and then just couldn't hold up anymore in the second half.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was never too worried once the game started. Um,
Yep.
Fields, when he was escaping for a while in the first half, I was starting to get a little bit worried, but it did seem like after Van Ness put him down, it was like this guy's human, dude. It's like let's start putting him down, and then sacking him 4 times,
Yeah.
pressuring him. I don't have the pressure stat up, but it had to be fucking
A lot.
15
Yeah.
times. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they were getting after him. So our defense, man, we hit everything right on the head. Like our defense was great. Uh our biggest weapon in Aaron Jones was great. Our offensive line was great. Our cornerbacks seemed to play great. Like DJ Moore didn't get anything going. Um Looking at like the tackles we were gonna maybe put as a weakness is I want to say it was Savage led the team in tackles with 10,
Yeah.
and then Nixon was second with 8. Douglas was third with 8. So I guess I mean if your secondary players are the guys getting the most tackles, it doesn't seem like that's great, but as a total, I think we held our golden number, and we'll probably reiterate this like 1,000 times, is 23 and a half. So if your defense holds a team in the NFL to under 23 and a half points, you should win that game. And the Packers did it. So, and
Yeah.
then,
So I would like to point out that that number is based on zero statistics and is a banging on the drum number, right? Like we just decided 23 and a half. That sounds about right. If you give up more than 23 and a half points, it's on the defense. If you keep them under that, the offense better figure out how to fucking score 23 and a half points, right?
yeah, but only giving up 189 passing yards, 122 rushing yards. Mike's our math guy, but that can't be too much over 300 yards. So I'll take it. 311 yards, Mike. I think that's
Yeah,
the
total offense, right? So like that's very good.
oh yeah, it says it right here. I didn't even have to do math, but I mean,
You
yeah,
did, and you
it
killed it.
was it was a great game, great opening week. But are you ready to roll into some bad news, or do you want to take a break before we get to the bad
Yeah,
news?
let's go with the bad news with the Badgers.
Yep. So the Badgers head west to, I want to be able to say what the town
I
is.
think it's isn't it Walla Walla, Washington?
Yeah, something like that. Like I
I'll
want
take a
to,
look. You go ahead and
yeah,
keep
but
talking.
the Badgers end up losing 31-22 to the Wildcats, Washington State University, in a all-time Badgers head to the West Coast and let's see what can go wrong trip. I think if you've been listening to the Banging on the Drum podcast and our Badger preview for this one, you kind of got a feeling what could go wrong. And that absolutely is what did go wrong. So the only player I highlighted on the Washington State team as a total was Cameron Ward, their quarterback that played for FCS school before he got to Washington State, but just has played a lot of football. He's a junior right now, but with the COVID rules, he's played 4 full seasons of starting quarterback. Basically, I think he's missed a couple games here and there. And he's been good the whole time. So against the Badgers, he goes 20-32 for 2 touchdowns and just was like a great veteran presence on that team to win that game. Some of the wilder stuff we had happen. We had a safety that seemed like it should have been called a safety. Like my naked and biased eyes, right when I saw it, I was like, "That's a safety." Like, and then even the announcers were kind of giving us that's a safety, and that was when the game was 22-24, maybe in the third or fourth quarter, but yeah, just a rough one going out west.
Well, so late in that game, we got like 2 calls back to back that kind of went against us. So that safety call, we didn't get the safety. Didn't think that that was a big deal at the time because they punted away, and then a few plays later, Malusi is carrying the ball, and it appears that he's down to me,
Yep.
right? And then gets the ball pulled out late. They call it a fumble, and then they say they can't overturn it because there's no like evidence, which they didn't show a lot of evidence saying that he was or was not down. But when I saw the play, it looked like he hit the ground and then they pulled it out. I could be wrong about that. Like it could go either way. It'd be nice if a team like the Badgers just kind of went in and stomped on a team like Washington State, and we wouldn't have to worry about these things. But those 2 plays feel like they really affected the back half of that game quite a bit.
Yeah, and the game started off slow, like Tanner. Mordecai. I wanted to say McAvoy. Mordecai. Mordecai.
Yeah, that's the old safety though, right? Was it a
Uh,
Tanner too?
what word did you just say? Because I want to say Macav. I want to say like Maccabee. I don't know, whatever. It's Mordecai. Let's not mess up my
Yeah, well,
brain
yeah, we
anymore.
don't have to like dick with this thing, right?
Yeah,
So
and I'm
Mordecai
not.
is the quarterback for the Packers right now, or for the Badgers right
Yeah, now Mike's fucking with us on all platforms. We're even changing the
now.
teams now. Rough first half, I would say. Mordecai looked very underwhelming in the first half. Uh, Badgers going into halftime were down 24-9. Uh, it did seem to step it up a little bit and ended up not having like the worst stat line, 24 of 40, 278 yards and a touchdown when we needed him to go. I'm not going to go over like touchdown by touchdown for the Badger game. We probably will if they win because we'll be like excited about it.
Yeah.
But it it did look like they were, I mean, they had to this game, but they did start to get some of their receivers that seem like they'll be decent weapons into the game a little bit more, like Skylar Bell, 5 catches, 44 yards, and a touchdown. Shimmeray DK looks like a stud, and they started to get him the ball a little bit more. But we did not run the ball for Dick in this game. So Washington State just seemed like I flat out say it like that we were out coached in that game. Like it looked like they had a smarter game plan going into it. And I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't say I'd seen this in in a tweet was like the honeymoon stage is over, but there was a lot of calls for like, hey man, this secondary looks fucking lost out there, and they did. Like there were just guys from Washington State running wide open, and it was like, shit, we're really gonna miss Jim Leonard here until I'll give these guys a break, like the new coaching staff a break. Fickle and his boys, because he doesn't have all of his guys in. Sure, he brought some of Cincinnati's players, but it's not like Deion Sanders bringing his whole fucking team and
Yeah,
coaching staff with him.
Everybody he wants with him.
Yeah, so
We got a few guys, but
yeah, it's gonna take a while. Braylon Allen only had 7 carries, which seems crazy, but am I misremembering something? Did he get hurt in this one early or
No, I think
something?
Malusi was having a much better night though. Like he was the one breaking free. So like
Yeah,
the things we say about AJ Dillon, I think to some extent
yeah,
could be said about uh, Braylon Allen as well. He is not. He's huge. He's a monster. Like I think I alluded to it last week that he tripped and fell into a dude, and they thought that was the best run of his day, right? And it was probably the best run he had the whole day. But he tripped and fell into a dude to knock him over. Not he didn't. He doesn't generally bowl guys over. Like that's not his game.
yeah. And I mean, I don't even fault him for that because he gets it done without having to do that. Like he is a
Correct.
big dude, and like I honestly think I don't give a shit like what your size is if you can run around a guy instead of run over a
Yep.
guy and keep a play going. And that's the better way to go. And that's the way Braylon Allen goes about things. So I'm not too disappointed about that knock on him. But yeah, it definitely like we weren't running the ball well. But if we had to do like our quick SWOT analysis, strengths, uh Mordecai did start to look like
I think he's a
he,
big
he
strength.
yeah, he definitely looks like he's gonna be good. I was a little underwhelmed with him. Like I said, I think it was more so like the first quarter. Like I think in the second quarter he started finding a little bit of a rhythm. Um, other than that, strengths, receiving core looks like it's one of the better ones in a while. And I don't
Yeah.
know, maybe we're going to be throwing the ball more
Yeah.
often, but
Yeah.
Shimmer DK seems good to me. Skylar Bell seems good to me. And then our guy who actually led the team in receiving yards and not receptions, but receiving yards was Will Pauling. So uh, my two that I recognize from last year very well uh, got the ball going in Bell and DK. And now we got this Pauling who I don't know, maybe he just had a big game, but whatever. They worked the ball around. Uh 25 receptions between what it looks like 8 players. So there's places to go with the ball.
Yep.
They were trying to get Braylon Allen the ball different ways than just running it. He did have 6 receptions,
Oh,
granted
nice.
only for 12 yards. Uh, so strengths, weakness, uh, turnovers, man. We lost 3 fumbles in that game. Like
And
Mike
that's
said,
2 weeks in a
uh,
row we've lost the turnover battle.
yeah, and like Mike said, the Malusi one, it was like they didn't want us to see it. That I think that was like the part that seemed more
Oh,
sketchy
okay.
to me about it is like, oh, we don't have a good angle on this. Like, let's just move on. Like where I've never seen a fumble have less angles shown of
Yeah,
it.
it was
Like
it was very limited, right?
it was like 2 shots and they're like, meh, yeah, I don't think we're gonna be able to determine whether he held on to this and fumble it. Um Another weakness was, like I said, the secondary looked looked bad in that game. Um, and then I think a third weakness is it looked. I always hate doing this because I don't fucking know this, but it did look to me. It appeared to me that Wisconsin thought they were going to go in and win this game fairly easily, and when they got punched in the mouth, they kind of didn't respond well to that. I feel like
Yep.
Mordecai maybe responded the best to it, but it wasn't like, oh fuck, we're in a dogfight now. It was like, shit, we didn't expect to be in a fight like this. Like, I'm not really up for it. Like it wasn't, you know what I'm saying? It's like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just like the feel of the game I got because very early, I guess even going into this game, I was telling people I was kind of scared about this one, but like early in this game, I texted everybody, probably you included, my group chat. I was like, this shit worries me. Like it just had that look to it. It was, and I mean, if you've been watching Badgers football as long as we've been watching Badgers football, Badgers going on like a West Coast trip is always kind of like sketchy. We've had bad games at Utah State when Utah State wasn't great. We had bad
BYU.
games at ASU when ASU wasn't great. I mean, there were solid teams. Don't get me wrong. Even like going back to days like playing Fresno in Fresno, like
Yep.
Fresno would always give us a fight. But anytime we sign one of these like home and homes or whatever, whenever we go out to the West Coast, and it seems like something crazy happens. Like the ASU game, I think that might be where the karma tweet came from.
Yeah, I think so because it was like we got a bad call on like a kneel down or a spike or something like that, where they ran the clock out, right?
Yeah,
Something
yeah,
along
we
those lines.
spiked it like comment, and yeah, then we got the karma tweet. But that was my best tweet I ever crafted, and it didn't get too much attention. I said the only thing we're missing from this game is Jim Leonard's wife saying
Yeah,
karma,
yeah.
and it definitely felt like that. But I think we covered quite a bit of weaknesses there. So if we were going to go to opportunity, we are doing this on the fly. We didn't prepare as well for the pack as we did for the pack game, but clear.
Opportunities we
Oh,
go ahead.
I was gonna say clear opportunity is like the scheme and stuff. Like it does seem like they're trying to work something in there that's gonna take a little bit of time that I do enjoy more than just being as basic as we have been in the past. Like I definitely can see where we're going with this. Like we are going to throw the ball a little bit more. We're going to get more creative with the way we run the ball, and I mean it's a great opportunity that we have ahead of us with this staff if we give them some time.
So we have opportunities, I think, inside of our schedule too. That our schedule is not grueling, right? Like our next game up, I want to say is Southern Georgia,
Yeah,
South Georgia.
I think it's Georgia Southern, like
Okay.
GSU, Georgia Southern University.
And so like we have an opportunity to like grow there, and then our Big Ten opponents are not like these. We're not facing Michigan and Ohio State and
We are facing Ohio State. We have
right, but
Ohio.
we don't have them immediately after this. We have time to grow before these games start up. We have we have the opportunity to really like put a lot of wins together this season and grow our team culture, right? So I don't I think we just probably lost the opportunity at a national championship, right? If you come in, you run the table, you go into Ohio State, you beat them, and you beat them on the in the Big Ten championship, or you beat Michigan in the Big Ten championship. Like you have an opportunity there, right? We're not facing all these powerhouse schools
Yeah.
this
No,
season. If you can
that's a
run the
really good
table,
point.
you can go. But we lost that opportunity by losing to Washington State, unless of course Washington State makes it too, which does not
It,
seem likely.
no, I agree with you like 99% of what you said right there, but I honestly don't even think you lose the opportunity at fully lose the opportunity at a national championship. Like things are going to have to break your way, but for an opportunity, we do have two decent games on the schedule. If we need Iowa to keep winning until we get to Iowa, because Iowa looks tough. And then same Ohio State. We need Ohio State to keep winning. So if we get a win, and this is like dumb brain, super optimistic Patrick talking, but
Yep.
you get three huge wins in a pretty weak schedule. And if you win the Big Ten championship, they're gonna
Even
have
if
to
it's Ohio State again, like it's
yeah,
that's a big deal. Still beat them twice in the same year.
yeah, and they're gonna have to kick your name around for the playoffs at the very least.
Yeah,
If you go
you're
with
not
us.
wrong.
Yeah, I don't fully expect that, but I'm just saying if you want to go to opportunities with the schedule like that, it's it's not out there, but it is, but it is. Like if you run the fucking table, I think your name is gonna get put in the playoff conversation for sure.
Right. But like yeah, I guess from here on out, if you're on the table. So I think that's some opportunities that we have an opportunity to get really, really good this year, see where we're at, what we need to do, and then develop into like a super strong program. I don't know if we have the opportunities, like good opportunities to like excel this season, but I think we can find out a lot about what the Badger program is. I don't think Fickle is, and then like I guess another opportunity is like this is an opportunity for us to find dudes that can play versus dudes that can't play. And I think Fickle says, I have the talent here. There's no reason we're not winning. I don't think that he took this loss as like a, oh, we're still setting everything up and not everybody's ready to go. He had made some type of code around the lines of like there's talent here. We have the players. We need to play better to some
Yeah,
extent, right?
no, I mean, yeah, you can't be wrong when you make that statement. I will say, like, my one oddball comment of this game. As I was saying last week, I was kind of watching it on phones from friends. Like we were just piecing the game together, getting ready for a wedding. I really got to sit back and watch this one. Uh, the coaching staff on the sideline does not look very Badger like. Like we're so used to like having head
Sure.
coach wearing some like shitty sweatshirt or something like this, and like
Yeah.
Luke Fickle just looks buttoned up. Even the offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator just look like offensive coordinator. I can't think of his name
Phil
off the top of my.
Longo.
Okay, he looks like a fucking hard ass. He looks like a guy that you do not want to piss off. But it just doesn't look like a Badgers coaching staff that I've seen before, and it's going to take my eyes time to adjust to having these guys on our sideline.
Yeah. So I'm excited about the Badgers overall. I'm just not excited about the Badgers this year anymore. You know what I mean? I don't see it.
Oh, don't
And
worry, buddy. They are going to get our hopes right the fuck back up just to
oh yeah,
crush them.
yeah, yeah,
Just
yeah,
to
for
crush
sure.
them.
I just I had a like I had this like weird, stupid opinion about the Badger football team that this is our best opportunity to really win a national championship was in the first year with Fickle due to the fact that our offensive line um, is probably going to be as dominant as it ever has been with a new type of scheme, right? And then being able to have running backs like we do. We recruited those running backs in a running era. We recruited these wide receivers in hopes to be throwing era, right? In the next few years.
Yeah.
And so like I thought our offense would like just meld as like this one powerhouse thing. And then I thought, well, we had a defense that was dominant last year, and we've had a dominant defense for maybe the last. I mean, Dave Aranda came over with what Anderson in like 2014,
Yeah.
and we've had a dominant defense for probably almost 8 9 years. Like since Aranda got here,
Yeah.
we've been dumping out some really good defenses. And I thought, even if uh, Leonard is gone, we have this team that should be able to just keep moving forward there, at least for this year, right? So once you start losing some dudes that were coached by Leonard and things kind of start eroding, I get that like that's not always going to be able to be upheld. But I thought this year, like we're set, we're good to go. Like things are going to like continue like progressing, and then these coaches will get the best out of all the players that we weren't getting the best out of before, and it
No,
just didn't work.
I agree with you. It did seem like a perfect opportunity to at least run the table until we ran into a team that was really going to be something. But what do we know? Like maybe Washington State is just not getting enough credit. We
Yeah,
do tend to have those teams on our schedule here and there. But yeah, ultimately, disappointing performance. Uh, if we had to go with threats to clean this one up, uh,
I think the fans are the big threat with the Wisconsin football program. Is that we have this expectation that Fickle should come in and put us over the top immediately, right? And we can start thinking like, oh, he didn't do this, he didn't do this, he didn't do this. Let's bring back Leonard. Well, and I seen tweets along those lines, like that this is not okay. That you said something along the lines of the honeymoon is over, right? Um, well, here's the deal: you got to give this guy fucking time. You can't
Yeah.
like start losing your shit on him. And in terms of threats, like if we go out and we lose 4 more games this season, that's not like ideal for me. But I also don't think that's a world ender either. I don't think
Yeah.
that this is something that we have to like lose our mind about. Um, Getting the right players in the right situation and the guys in to excel here in at the University of Wisconsin is going to be challenging. However, I'd like to see it happen this year, but I'm cool if it takes 2 or 3 years.
I like it, Mike. I think that is a great threat. And if we had to do another threat, it would be the Sam Lockett the third that was all over the fucking field for Washington State. And then a Ron Stone Jr. sacking the shit out of Mordecai. But I,
Nakia
I I
Watson,
I think I think the big threat is just all mindset is
yeah,
if this team goes to shambles after this. I don't think Fickle's the guy that's gonna like let them do that. I think he's gonna be a good enough coach to be like, you know, we fucked up. Put
yeah,
that one on me. Like honestly, even watching that game, I was like, that this is kind of on Fickle. Like it looks like they had a good game plan for us, and we did not have the greatest game plan for them. Um, they were running fast on us early. We weren't getting our guys off the field in the right amount of time and stuff. It was a lot of like Aaron Rodgers stuff that we seen Aaron Rodgers do get used against us and like the subs and stuff like that. It seemed like a lot of coaching stuff is what I'm trying to get at is like, hey, if they do this, like you got to run on the field, you got to run off the field, like type deal. Cause we were getting a lot of penalties for stupid shit like that. And I want to see what we ended up with for total penalty yards. I guess 3 or 4 for 30, but seemed worse than
yeah.
that. But
I don't remember that feeling like really really bad the penalty wise, but like I could have just been not paying as I was at a birthday party watching it as well, so like maybe I just wasn't paying great attention to it. So
yeah, and it was way more rough early. And then once we settled in, and it looked like we just were like, well, shit, if they run it like this, like we're just gonna have to do it with the guys that we have on the field. And then, but yeah, let's put a bow on it. That's what we got for threats. Do you got any final words there?
nope, we're gonna be better. No worries. Wisconsin will be good. It'll just be it won't be as smooth of a season as we thought moving forward.
All right. And to put a bow on the episode, we buried the lead far, far last. Corbin Burns goes, so we're gonna roll out the barrel on you guys here. Eight
Oh yeah.
innings of no hit baseball. Devin Williams comes in the ninth, completes 9 innings of no hit baseball. Abner Uribe comes in the 10th, completes 10 innings of no hit baseball. And we end up losing this game in the 13th.
Yep.
Uh,
4-3.
yeah. So it was a rough one for the Brewers. I want to look at this real quick, but I want to say Burns has not been getting any run support. Um, that's a pretty shitty way to look at how this series went, though. Is we went into Yankee Stadium and we took 2 of 3 from the Yankees. We definitely should have, with this pitching performance, took 3 of 3 from the Yankees, but for some reason, when Corbin Burns is on the mound, we cannot get that guy a fucking run. So, So we lost 1-0 to the Cubs, 4-2 to Pittsburgh, but that was kind of Corbin Burns' fault there. He gave up all 4 of those, but maybe it's another thing that is just ringing too true in my ears, that Burns cannot get run support, but it sure seems
Well,
like the
we got
case.
1-0 versus the Cubs, right?
Yeah.
And we have a 0-0 game going into the ninth inning against the Yankees. I think that you're probably right. That is not enough run support for a guy. Now
Yeah.
you give up 4 runs in a game, okay. Take the loss, move on. If you give up 1 run in 2 games, we should probably get some wins. At least one of those should be a win.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll get positive on you guys. We're not going to go too deep into the Brewers right now. So the Brewers currently have a 3-game lead over the Cubs. So that's pretty damn good. And I want to say the last time I looked, our magic number is 17 right now. And I'm going to tell on myself a little bit. Magic number seems like very easy, but I don't fully understand it. So say if the Cubs win and the Brewers win, then it
So
goes down to 16.
yep. So the
Okay.
Brewers have to win 17 games.
And
Or
then
there's
if
a combination of 17 wins and losses by the Brewers and the Cubs, right? So like 9 wins out of the Brewers and 8 losses out of the Cubs, I think, put you there too.
okay. Yeah, no, that was a good way to explain it. So yeah, now I fully get it. But I think that will be our episode for the day. We're going to try to stay, I want to say like under an hour, hopefully even a little bit quicker than that on our
We might be over
Sunday.
today, but
Yeah, we always go over,
we're
but
adjusting.
yeah. So, as always, thank you guys for listening. We love you guys. We appreciate the support. Please remember to like, subscribe, share. I think we are gonna be on our P's and Q's this year, and we're just gonna keep getting better. So,
We will
like I
try.
said,
Yep. For all you suckers that are doubting the Badgers, the Bucks, the Brewers, the Packers, or Martin Truex Jr., you can eat our shorts. Roll it.